All right, good evening, everyone. Tonight is Monday, February 2nd, 2026. I would like to call to order the Board of Library Trustees of the Arlington Heights Memorial Library Committee of the Whole meeting. May I have a roll call, please?
Trustee Burrell? Here. Trustee Bella?
Here.
Trustee Kelly?
Here.
Trustee McLean?
Here.
Trustee Meadow is absent. Trustee Watts?
Here.
President Samari?
Here. We could stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Do we have any public comment? All right, no comment. All right, looking at the 2026 Illinois Public Library Annual Report for 2025.
Okay, so what you have included in your packet is the draft report for IPLAR to be submitted for 2025-26. It's the 2025 data for 2026. In this memo, we called out areas that had a fairly significant difference, over about 20%. And we have a description on each of those. I did have a couple of questions outside of that I'll address. First of all, the property 7.1 that is identified on page 1 there, what's the current fair market value for the library's real estate. That went down a little over $11 million. That was because we had an appraisal done through our insurance company for our property, and that's what it came back as. There was a question about, does that affect our insurance coverage or borrowing capacity? We haven't really used collateral for any borrowing. We don't really do any borrowing. So I don't think it will have any impact on that. And it shouldn't affect our insurance coverage, being that our insurance carrier was the one that actually did this. So it just kind of trues up where we are with the insurance. 2.11A, the bookmobile. It's listed as -3 square feet, and that is on page, I think it's on page 3 or 4. I'm sorry, page 5, at the very top. Arlington Heights bookmobile under square feet. They're looking for the square footage of each of the locations. So we have the actual square footage of the Maker Place, the senior center, and the library. And then the bookmobile is listed as -3. For some reason, this form, when we put in the square footage for the bookmobile, it resets to -3. But we've talked to the state about it, and that's the way it's been for a number of years. So they are aware, and we've called it to their attention, but that's the way it is. They do say in their instructions that the bookmobile will be zeroed out because they don't really record the square footage of that. They're really looking for the property square footage. Then 8.1B, which is on page 11. There was a question about what's the difference between 8.1 and 8.1B, and why do we have unknown in 8.1B? So there was some confusion as to what this is actually looking for, because the two questions are very similar. So we do think we know what this is supposed to be in 8.1B, and we are waiting for clarification from the state to get that information to ensure that we have the proper number there. So when this is brought back to the board meeting for final approval, you'll see that may change. That may be an actual number. And then the other question I had was for 13.27, which is on page 17, information librarian, adult services, master's degree. This is a full-time librarian that is currently vacant. This is for our genealogy librarian position. So we are hiring this position. This one, it does affect our services a little bit, being that we don't have a specialist in this role, but it is something that we're actively pursuing and looking to fill. This is a very specialized position though, and so it takes a little bit of time to find the right person for it.
When he left, did he go to that position at a different library or something?
He went to a higher position. So those were the questions I had specifically. Did anybody have any other thoughts or questions? on this? I know it's a lot to ingest.
Yeah, I had a couple, just on the highlight page. So it's interesting that the door tracking system at the senior center, made that number go up. Do we have a similar system in either the Maker Place or here?
Yes. both.
Okay,
Mhm.
so now we have it in all three locations.
Exactly, yeah, we have infrared counters that are ceiling mounted and
Mhm.
they go by like heat traces and stuff like that, so they're pretty accurate. And the old way at the senior center was a manual counter.
Yeah, okay. Just sort of a comment on page 13, 10.1 and 10.2. I just find it really interesting that really we're spending more than double on e-content
Mhm.
as opposed to books or printed materials above it. So that's just something, we've been hearing about and reading about.
Just to note, that does include databases also,
Okay,
and that
so,
those are pretty expensive, so it's not an apples to apples comparison there.
yeah, but that's a big number.
Mhm.
And then on page 19, again, I just think it's really pretty impressive that we have 61,500 or so, resident cards, and the population of Arlington Heights is 77,676. So really, that's almost a card per person, which is amazing.
That's very impressive.
Yeah. I did have a question on page 20. I probably just don't understand, the differences, but how come we don't get state library content? There's a lot of no's when the questions are about state libraries. What does, I just,
Which one specifically?
okay, so 17.10, does your library provide access to ebooks provided by the state library at no or minimal cost?
Most of those are autofilled, so for whatever reason, the state is putting those in as notes. We don't select those few that say no, they're being auto-populated.
Yeah, so they may have, I know they have a consortium for ebooks through the state. I
Right.
don't think we're part of it I'm gonna have to look into
Yeah,
that.
I just,
I'll get back
I
to
mean,
you on
because
that.
it says it no or minimal cost
Mhm.
for some of them, and I just didn't quite understand that. Then on the next page 21, again, just kind of looking at the numbers, it's great that we actually, our residents or our customers get more books from interlibrary loans than we give out. So people are using it, I guess is the point, which is great. So that's a good thing to have. That's it. Those are mine. Anyone else?
No, I was just curious if you knew when the appraisal before last was done. Is it like always on a certain timetable? Was
I
it
don't know
contingent
that
on
one.
the insurance?
I think the
payment?
insurance is the one who prompted it, but I don't know when the last one was. It was. probably
That's an
5 or 6
interesting
years ago. I know,
difference.
it is.
I was just curious if it was just being like trued up or trued down,
Mhm.
based on what the last one was.
I'll check on that and bring that to the board meeting.
Thanks.
All right, moving to agenda item number 6, proposed revisions to policy 1.101, rules of the Board of Library Trustees.
Okay, so this is a small policy change to reflect a change in Public Act 104-0438, which amended the Open Meetings Act to expand the permissible reasons for a member of the public body to attend a meeting electronically. So currently, in our rules of the Board of Library Trustees policy, if you look on page, fourth or fifth page, I'm sorry, the last page, page 6. The state had identified those 4 reasons as okay reasons when you can zoom in to a meeting and be included as a voting member of the board. They've added this 5th one, performance of active military duty as a service member. So this change is really just bringing this policy up to date with the amended Open Meetings Act.
Okay. Makes sense. I have a question, I mean, that all makes sense. Just in reading this more closely, on page 4 of the policy, section 5, it says the president shall designate a member or members of the board as liaison to the Friends and the foundation. I didn't actually realize this was a thing, so I've never done it. I don't know if Greg ever did it. So,
It's fluctuated throughout the years.
Right.
The president was representing the board at the Friends meetings. That's kind of fallen away. I did leave this, I noticed that too, and I left it in the policy just because I think procedurally it's probably a good thing to do,
Right.
even if that liaison is just named as liaison. Doesn't
Okay.
necessarily have to attend the meetings or
Okay.
anything, but can be kind of that point person between the president of each of those organizations.
right,
I feel like we do have very good communication between
Yeah,
the two
I mean-
organizations and.
I go to foundation events.
I go to
Trustee
Friends.
Watts goes to Friends. I'm just wondering, do you think we should change that word to may?
Absolutely can do that.
Can we change it to may, or if the board would like to do it, we could make it more official and I could nominate trustee Watts to go to the Friends meeting and I could nominate someone else or go to the foundation. I mean, what do you guys think?
Well, I mean, I think the shall or the may is a good
Yeah,
option.
Okay.
It might be something to think about to continue. I mean, to take
Yeah.
off like always having to be that communicator.
right,
But it gives us at least the option to go with, you know, the kind of the who's on the board, what is working. Maybe someone really is, or, you know, but that may gives the option instead of
okay.
forces.
Yeah, all right, so perhaps for the board meeting, if you could change that word to may. And in the meantime, I'm happy for you. I would love for trustee Watts to be our liaison for this year, but if you can't attend a meeting. you
No,
know,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and-
I find it really helpful to go to those meetings. It gives me better insight to what's going on and sort
Yeah.
of how they're supporting us. And honestly, sometimes they ask me questions, and so it's kind of nice to be able to have answers for them when they're looking for things. So
Great,
it's been a great experience. So I'd be happy to continue it.
okay, wonderful. And if there's anything that you don't know or we need to discuss at a board meeting, yeah, feel free to put it on the
Well,
agenda.
Mike has definitely gotten emails during those meetings.
That works.
And I will, I guess, well, it is a brand new year. Would anyone like to be our liaison for the foundation? Or I can sort of continue to do that. I don't think their board meetings are quite as regular as Friends or am I?
They do have regular meetings.
Yeah.
I attend them, I attend the beginning of them. And then, you know, I
Okay,
let them have discussion without me there. I think
Right.
That's, you know,
Right.
official. So up to you. I mean, even if you wanted to talk with Lori about it.
yeah, okay.
and decide
That's a good
what-
idea. Actually, I saw her this weekend, so I will bring that up to her. All right,
I do want to just mention one other thing. I did have a question about OMA, the Open Meetings Act, and if this refers to any other policies. This is the only policy with an Open Meetings Act reference to it. So this change only exists in this policy. So there are no other policies that are affected by this.
okay. All right. All right, moving on to proposed revisions to policy 2.008 personnel information or personal information protection.
Okay, so this is another policy that is being updated as a reflection of change in legislation. This one, however, has not been updated since 2011, and there's been a few changes in legislation as it relates to personal information protection. So the changes that you're seeing in here are reflective of the high points of that legislation. I didn't want to include everything in here because that's not really necessary in a policy. We just want to refer to that Illinois Personal Information Protection Act. But the bolded areas are the areas that I felt was important to include and added. So the biggest areas are the pieces of information that are defined as personal information, and we're adding medical information, health insurance information, and unique biometric data generated from measurements or technical analysis of human body characteristics used by the owner or license to authenticate an individual such as fingerprint, retina, or iris image, or other physical, unique physical representation or digital representation of biometric data, and then username or email address in combination with a password or security question, and answer that would permit access to an online account, so on and so forth. And then I also identified that the library maintains reasonable security measures to protect records, and that the library disposes of materials containing personal information in a manner that renders the personal information unreadable. So those are all excerpts from that newer legislation. The legislation changed, I think, last in 2024. So this brings us up to date to that. I did have a couple of questions from trustees also, the email before this. There was a question about how much information we store on our servers and do we use like third party. We really store minimal information on our servers. It's really limited to like username on the website, password, maybe name, but all of the more sensitive information, like their barcode, well, their barcode might be stored on their servers too, but their address, telephone number, stuff like that is stored on a third party's vendor server that is offsite in the cloud. We do have encryption on our certificates, 256-bit encryption. The passwords that we do store, we store in a salted hash, so it is very, very difficult to get any of that information. And even if you could get that information, you can't decode that information. And let's see, we do have a breach protocol. We have had instances before where we've had to investigate if information had left our servers because of a virus. So we have a protocol bringing in an outside consultant to do a review of the incident and if any information has left the network. If that were the case, then we would pull in our attorney and find out, follow through with the policy and the legislation or the law to verify that we're following all those steps. We also have worked with insurance in the past on this type of thing, not a breach of information, but a virus. We do have cybersecurity insurance, so they have covered things for us when we've had to bring in an outside consultant. So I think those are all the questions I have.
Do we store, if someone, I guess, pays for a book that they lost, do we store a credit card number?
No, that any credit card processing is done on a merchant site, and so we don't store any of that.
Okay.
And anything that we do, like pass along, we go through the PCI certification and ensure that we're, I wouldn't say certified, but that we adhere to those standards.
Have you ever had I don't know, the police or the FBI or someone come and ask for information on a patron?
Yes, we have had instances where equipment was seized from us years and years ago as part of an investigation. I think they took one of our pieces of equipment and brought it back later.
Mm-hmm.
But what we, for our customer computers, that information, all the information, whatever changes on that computer during a session is wiped as soon as the computers are started, so there's
Okay.
never any personal information stored on those.
Good job.
Quick question, I think I know the answer to this, I just want to verify. For the like medical information, health insurance, all that stuff, we're just including that because that's part of the updated
Right.
like guidance from the state.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
We don't
And-
actually collect.
We do, I mean, we do for benefits and stuff, but that's also stored on the village servers. We do store some information on our, what's called BambooHR, our HR software. But that is all, again, that's a third party
Okay.
vendor. So any of that more sensitive information is with third party vendors, and they manage the encryption and security.
For like customers, we're not.
Yeah. We're not collecting that.
Just wanted to make sure there wasn't something I wasn't thinking.
Any other questions?
All right. Any other?
I just wanted to point out that we received a award for Community Service Organization of the Year from the Scouting America Pathway to adventure. So I was very honored to be able to receive that award. It was last week. And we had a nice group of staff from the library there as well to represent us. So
Nice, congratulations.
Well done.
I have a couple just little questions. Can you just share with us a little bit of a broad update on if we're getting any tax money?
we are getting tax money. I believe, last I checked with Tracy, we're at 87% of the second tax bill. So it has been coming in. They did give us a schedule of disbursement probably about a month ago, and they have been coming in, those payments have been coming in according to that schedule. So we are in good shape there.
Okay, good. The chargers, are those up and running or?
They are not. Spoke with them a couple weeks ago. They are still waiting for ComEd
Okay,
to finalize some things as far as the grant goes that they're pursuing. So they said as soon as they have that done, they'll be able to.
okay, nice. And I just actually wanted to sort of throw it out to think about. You know, I noticed that some the village staff as well as the village trustees had a press conference where they expressed support, and had school board people there too from the school boards affected for the Bears coming. We're a taxing body that would be affected by that decision. So I just wanted to know, I wonder, do we want to make a statement or just kind of be under the umbrella of the village? It's not like we're gonna negotiate a different tax structure based on whether or not they come. I don't know, and actually, just before I left today, I think the Downtown Business Association is doing something. I didn't read it carefully. They're having another event. I mean, I think they're trying to get something to happen one way or, you know, to be positive and whatever. So I don't know. What do you guys think? I mean, should we issue a statement or just stay out of it or talk to the village when we have our joint meeting?
Cover that. I'd say, but that's me.
My gut reaction is stay out of it, but yeah, I think it probably makes sense to have a discussion.
Yeah. I mean, I thought, it was nice to see the room full, all the local media, TV and all that. Obviously, we all read about it. We're there. I watched the press conference. They did a nice job. I thought they had really good information in their slides. I honestly, I have no idea. I sort of feel like they're gonna do what they're gonna do. But, anyway, I just, in thinking about the fact that we are a taxing body that would be affected, I didn't know if we wanted to put out, you know, a statement, but let's talk about it with our joint meeting. Maybe we could put that on the agenda. I'm sure it's on the agenda.
I'm sure we're gonna talk about this here.
Okay. All right, anyone else have any others? All right, then I would like a motion to go into closed session in accordance with 5 ILCS 122C for the purpose of discussing executive directors Mike Driscoll's performance goals for the coming year.
A second.
So.
Oh, so.
All in favor? All right. Okay. Don't have any items for closed session, so we came out of closed session, so I would like a motion to move back into open session. So moved, all in favor? Aye. Okay. Does anyone have anything else for tonight? No, then I would like a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So I would like a motion to approve the minutes from the closed session.
So moved.
So moved.
All in favor? Aye. All right, and now I believe Darnell made a motion to adjourn the meeting. Seconded by trustee Watts. All in favor? Aye.